I didn't think that this one could possibly have the like worse special effects than the first one, but this was actually mind-blowing. And not in a good way.
All right.
It has begun!
Fight. Prepare to die. You're still trying to bow to me. That was pathetic. Feel the wrath of Shao Kahn. Fuck. Your brother's soul is mine. You will be next. Finish him.
Get over here!
Flawless victory. Friendship again.
Those were $500 sunglasses, asshole. This is where you fall down.
Fatality.
Too bad you will die.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I am Scott, and with me, as always, is Joe.
Hi.
We're just another movie night, and today we are talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash, where we go to the bottom depths of all the review sites and find the worst of the worst, the movies that people either call the worst movie ever made, embarrassingly bad, or so bad it's good. And we purposely hunt those movies out and try to figure out two questions. Is this movie really bad? And what is the worst movie ever made? And today we are tackling 1997's Mortal Kombat Annihilation. On my road of watching all the Mortal Kombat movies in preparation for the new Mortal Kombat video game, the 13th game, number 1. They're resetting it. And here we are, diving back into a movie we wish we never watch again. My third time seeing this film, and
Jesus.
Joe's second. I think the last time we saw it, we said to ourselves, we're never going to see this thing again. And here we are, doing it again for the love of Mortal Kombat.
I think that my exact words to you were, I never, ever want to hear of this movie again. I never want to
You know secretly
ever...
you love moments in this movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 97. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1997. To put it in perspective, this is the year that Life is Beautiful came out. And I will say that Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score of 4%, an audience score of 25%, an IMDb score of 3.6, with 56,000 reviewers, and a Metacritic score of 11%, with a user's rating of 7.9 out of 10. Now that's hilarious, and I had to end with that one.
Wow.
Now, we're going to play a little game that we like to play where Joe doesn't know I'm about to ask questions, and I just put it on her, called What Can Joe Answer?
Oh no, I hate these.
It's my new favorite. It's my new favorite game of all time.
This is actually, let's make Joe look like a colossal ass.
Nope. It's just because you have the best answers and they make me laugh all the time. We're going to play two different things. Well, first off, let's start with the easy.
Okay.
Now that you've rewatched this film, what do you think the budget was?
Oh, okay, well, the intense, amazing CGI. I mean, oh gosh, it must have been a fortune. I'm gonna say the budget was about 14 million.
I'm going to shock you here. 30 million.
Oh god.
With a box office gross of 51.3.
Is that like worldwide?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to say it probably is because this was a disaster.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'm one of the only human beings on the earth who saw this in the theater.
Yeah, I think
Because
you
I
might
do
be.
love Mortal Kombat.
I
Cue
mean-
the theme.
Now it make me laugh.
Now the next questionnaire. This is the fun one.
Okay.
Last movie we talked about the soundtrack and how, you know, like you said, the soundtrack just shattered records on the and sold so many albums, and it was like the video game soundtrack or the movie soundtrack for the video game movie is bigger than the movie itself, right?
Yes.
So my question is, just for fun, this is for fun. Can you guess any bands that are on this sequel soundtrack?
Okay. All right, so this is 1997, so let's go with Hoobastank.
No, Hoobastank is Hoobastank in the 90s?
Who the fuck is Hoobastank? I don't even know who Hoobastank is. What
They're
are
a
they sing?
hoob and they stank.
That's for dang sure. Okay. Papa Roach.
Okay. Well, I guess you need to think about this a little bit more because the soundtrack is like techno and heavy metal.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's not Papa Roach, it's more like...
Prodigy?
Oh, that's a good guess, but no Prodigy.
Okay. What are those techno babble?
One of these is going to
things
shock you.
90s? Wait, not Dead Mouse. Not a...
Dead Mouse wasn't, I don't think
No,
was
it
around.
wasn't around back then. Chemical Brothers?
No.
No.
I think they're more... You got good guesses so far, but I mean, I think that you're not going heavy metal enough.
Well, we're not gonna say Anthrax. They do have like a rap metal kind of vibe.
You need to think of that metal jams. Remember that? Was that Steve Dave or whatever the hell it is on SNL? That joke I love where they were like, come to the metal show.
Underground Records is back.
What up, yo? I'm DJ Super Soap.
And I'm Lil Blaster.
And in case you didn't notice, it's time for the most dope-tastic holiday of the year. Columbus Day.
Woo woo! And what better way to celebrate than coming to this sweet-ass festival, yo?
Announcing the first ever Columbus Day Ass Blast.
We got performances from all the hottest underground rap and rock
These
bands.
bands will give Queen Isabella olives. With performances by Sploink, MC Hammertoe, Baby Nutsack, The Lesbian Forest, Yo Gabba Gabba, Crucifying Kudrow, and a very special a cappella performance by Mrs. Potato Chip.
And you know we got some fresh-ass special guests, y'all.
You get to hang with the robot from Batteries Not Included.
Party with the cast of ABC's hit show, Dinosaurs.
Without the costumes.
Or just have group sex with the Kia Gerbils. Damn.
Worried you won't be able to cheat on your girlfriend?
You will.
Because the festival's gonna be crawling with 3 Hispanic prostitutes.
Nina, Pinta, and Scuzzy Bear.
There's gonna be so much dumb stuff to do.
Oh God.
All right, so
I got nothing.
I think you're thrown in the towel on this
I
question.
am because I'm trying to think of the techno like thing, and that I was not ever at any point into that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the ones that I would have thought that you would have guessed, and that's Megadeth,
Oh shit.
Rammstein.
Yeah. Rammstein. Yeah. Oh dang.
KMFDM was the big
Oh, okay. I do know. Yes. Okay.
at the time.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that though.
Okay.
I would have never.
And this is the one that's really odd. Face to Face.
Face to Face was not on that soundtrack.
They're on the soundtrack.
I
And they
love
do a
Face to
song
Face.
called
I
"I
didn't-
Won't Lie Down," the Combat mix.
Oh fuck! It's remixed. It's
That's really
remixed.
that's interesting.
I didn't
I'm
even
gonna check
catch
this out
that.
afterwards.
I
yeah.
didn't even catch that. I must have been in like some kind of like stabby mentality where it just was like, this movie is just trash. I gotta get out of this somehow. How did I not pick that out? I love Face to Face.
I know. I honestly didn't even hear Megadeth in the score. I don't even know if I could pick up any of the score in this movie, except for the main theme by the Immortals, which in the last movie, the last podcast we talked about being some of the members from Lords of Acid.
Mm-hmm.
They are called the Immortals, and they did the theme, the main theme that everybody knows.
I didn't even say Lords of Acid, and we literally talked about it when we watched this movie.
Well, they're not. Yeah, it's not them though. It's only a couple people from that band.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, some of the funny ass names on the soundtrack. I wanted. This is why I wanted to play the game because I was hoping you were going to come up with fake ones. Lunatic Calm. That's a good one.
Oh my God.
Lunatic Calm. Man Break.
Man Break. Okay.
Psycho Sonic.
I feel like I've heard of Psychosonic, but
And
maybe it's just.
I guess this band really likes Mortal Kombat because they use K's instead of C's, and even their song in this movie is called Panic Control with K's.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like those bands are made up specifically for this movie.
I love this. I didn't know that Buckethead was around this long, but Buckethead was on both soundtracks.
I think we had
with
this
George S.
conversation.
Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I didn't know he was around, but man, that's pretty neat. Like he is pretty great. I like Urban Voodoo.
Oh, I like that too.
The names are great. All right, so moving on from that.
Soundtrack.
So let's get into who worked on this film, because I think that's even more interesting now. So I got a little list here of crazy, crazy shit.
Okay.
Okay, so this was directed by John R. Leonetti. All right, he doesn't direct another movie after this movie for 9 years. He does Butterfly Effect 2.
Oh, I don't think we've even seen that one.
No, we haven't. And then 8 years after that, he makes another movie.
Which was it?
Annabelle. Yeah.
Shut up.
He likes. That's the one everybody doesn't like. Everybody likes the other one. I think it's a good director did that one. It's not Flanagan. Someone we like.
Annabelle Comes Home? Is that the one you're talking about?
No. That's like the third one. There's a sequel. I think it's called Origins.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
sequel. It's
okay.
like a prequel. But everybody likes that one a lot better. But yeah, that was in 2014, and then he comes back and does Wish Upon in 2017. Yeah. Okay. He was a camera assistant and camera operator on good movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Weird Science, Poltergeist, Commando, This is 40. And then bad movies like Action Jackson, Star Trek Insurrection, while also being a cinematographer on films like Insidious 1 and 2, Honey, I Know Who Killed Me, Spy Hard, and Joe Dirt.
Oh, man.
And also Mortal Kombat 1 is pretty much how he got this job. But this whole cast of people who worked on the crew of this movie, pretty much had their hands in some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Okay, going on for that is, the film is by a story by producer Lawrence Kasanoff, right? He produced all of the Mortal Kombat, everything outside of the video games, he is responsible for.
So, like, even the shorts and the...
Everything, yeah. Yeah, because he's directed 2 things, and those 2 things, oh my God. He directed Food Fight.
Oh my freaking God,
Yeah.
stop.
And he also directed the Mortal Kombat Live Tour.
What?
Yes, we have to look into that soon.
They had a live...
I didn't know about
Are we...
this.
Wait, ice skates?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. You know how everything's always on ice skates? Like Turtles weren't like doing that? Remember
is
that Turtles tour? That was some weird shit back in the day.
I mean, it would make sense if they were ice skaters because they could do those kicks and flips and stuff. So it
true.
does look like martial arts.
I wonder what it was, like an American Gladiator tour?
We have to look into this.
I have to look into it. But also, the Mortal Kombat franchise, by the way, for this man, he's produced all of it. He made about $5 billion in profit.
The live action Mortal Kombat 1, he started with that
Yep.
and then went on all the way to now.
Yeah, he still did the new one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's
And
had
we're
his
talking
hands in
about
Mortal Kombat outside of the video games.
the new ones with, the newer Mortal Kombat movies.
Yes, the new one, which we're going to do next week on the podcast.
Okay.
We'll do the brand new one. And he's also the producer in that. But to even nail this even more, he's also the producer of T2 and True Lies.
Wow.
And that's great, right?
Also, he has a lot to do with Arnold because he did Commando, right? Isn't that him?
No, that was actually the director of this film.
director.
This is the producer who also apparently wrote the story for this, or came up with the story, and then some other guys came in and wrote the story.
God.
Which is crazy. But now, because I gave this guy a lot of credit, except for saying that he's the director of Food Fight, which, let's go on record here and say that's one of the worst painful things ever made.
It was very painful. We watched it on Bad Movie Night. It was terrible.
And since we already went on and say, he produces all the Mortal Kombat stuff and has made a lot of money off of this franchise, and he's also the producer of T2 and True Lies, which we both are going to admit they're great.
Oh,
both
they're
are great films.
fantastic.
Well, let's go back to saying how bad this guy is, because he's also produced Ghoulies Go to College, A Gnome Named Norm, Class of 1999, and Chud 2 Bud the Chud.
Okay, I love Bud the Chud, so how dare you, sir?
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, but it's not great. All right. Now, this is also the cinematographer of this movie is also the cinematographer of another of our worst movies I've ever seen, and that's The Bat People.
Oh my god.
This guy is the cinematographer for that movie.
Nothing happened in that movie. It was terrible.
And now I'm going to ask you one last question because I love this answer and I have to hear what you have to think about this.
Okay.
Because you opened up about saying it in the opening here. Okay. How many people worked on the visual effects for this film?
Son of a bitch. Oh my god. I'm gonna go with like 3.
I knew you were going to say that. And I'm going to blow your mind here and say 87 people
Okay.
I counted in the visual effects plus 3 animation people.
No, it's just not possible. No.
Yeah.
There's no way
What
that
the fuck
87
are we talking
human
about here?
beings can be this bad at their job at once.
So, yeah. I mean, this movie is insane. I wanted to basically tell everybody about the behind the story and who was working on this film to really nail that some of these people have their hands in some of the worst shit I've ever watched. And it does come across screen here.
What about the actress playing Sindel? What else is she in?
I don't have that information. I do have the information of saying that other actors in this movie, and this is where it gets even more mind-blowing, is that the stunt doubles for this movie are some of the best stunt people out there today. And it is insane that this movie came out the way it did. I'm going to say this. This is Ray Park's first film. All right?
Wow.
Also, Tony Jaa is the stunt double for Liu Kang in almost every scene. That's insane.
Wow.
Also, J.J. Perry, who is a legendary stunt actor. He played Cyrax, Scorpion, Noob, and Baraka in this film. He is the director of The Day Shift with Jamie Foxx recently.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. If anything about that movie, it might not be good. The special effects and the stunt stuff are fantastic in that film.
It is.
And I cannot believe that these guys all worked on this film.
Can I just ask you a question, though? Isn't the actor playing Liu Kang, isn't he actually a stuntman / martial artist?
Oh, we're going to get into that. Yeah, so
why does he have a
this set
double?
was a nightmare because, all right, well, I guess, I don't know if we should talk about the scenes in general as we're going along and talk about what was happening behind the scenes because this was chaos, pure chaos. They didn't know what they were doing, and I don't think the people...
That's pretty evident.
Yeah, I don't think the people who were involved in the stunt stuff, all these legendary people that I'm naming here, like Ray Park, I mean, it might be his first movie. He's shorter. He was actually playing like one of the reptiles and one of the, I guess you call them, I think they were called raptors in this movie. I don't know really why. He's basically one of those guys. There's a part in this movie where Raiden fights 2 guys, and one of them's shorter. It's him. And it's also going to be that J.J. Perry. I think they were all playing Barakas because there's like a lot of the cotton soldiers in this, not really calling them Baraka, but they are. And all these guys were playing these characters. And let's just say this too, because only 2 actors, right? Am I right here? 2 actors come back, and that's the actor who plays Liu Kang, which is Robin. What's his name? Son?
Is it Robin? Wait, is it Shou? I think it is. Shou. That's his name. Then, yeah, Robin Shu.
Okay.
Shou.
And also the actress who plays Katana.
That's Talisa Soto.
Yes, and a third person, but not playing the same character, and that would be Keith Cook. He actually played a reptile in the first movie. He came in last moment and filmed that scene because people were saying there was not enough action. So they refilmed and they shot in the first movie and they put a reptile scene in. This time he's playing the new Sub-Zero, which is AKA Kuai Liang. He's playing the Sub-Zero's brother.
I have a question though. You're talking about the stunt people?
This was actually the actor.
Yeah, but we were talking about the stunt people a second ago. Was there any noteworthy female stunt doubles? Because
I didn't
there was
see
a lot of females in this movie.
I guess there was. A lot of people were covered up. I didn't find out a lot of information. A lot of them didn't pop out. Like it's the actress who's replacing Sonya Blade is a Swedish actress.
Oh.
And I have not seen her in anything.
Well, she's very pretty.
There's a bunch of people like that. And then we have to also point out 2 of these actors in this movie are 2 of the American Gladiators, Saber and Malibu.
Okay, I would have never even like known this unless you pointed it out. And
Once
now
you
when
find
I
out
saw
Malibu
it,
is Montaro, it is so hard to unsee.
because we had just watched the American Gladiators documentary.
Yes, there's a
and
documentary on Netflix we just watched.
yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then I would have never noticed it. Like if you told me, "Oh, that's the guy from American Gladiators," if I had not watched that documentary, it wouldn't have, because it kind of jogged my memory a little bit. That was so long ago.
Exactly why I wanted to watch it.
It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that is him, and he has the most ridiculous lines of dialogue, and he delivers them just as ridiculous.
Centaurs are known for their hunting prowess. As your general, I will personally hunt down every human soul and spare no one.
I wonder, and I couldn't find this information out. I wanted to know if that was his real voice or if he was dubbed by someone else.
I feel like he was using his voice, but then they put some kind of enhancement over it.
Yeah, because he's also talking through giant teeth that they put in, like
Yes.
prosthetic teeth. And I was wondering if this was actually the actor, because I actually don't think he's acting terrible. He's being directed badly, and also he's in such a funny prosthetic suit that it's so hard to look at. But I mean, let's face facts. These two guys, and what we saw was a lot of people were using steroids on American Gladiators and stuff like that. These guys are in amazing shape. Both actors look amazing.
Yes.
But
The guy playing Jax was on.
Saber from American Gladiators, yeah.
He was Saber, yeah.
Yes, he's ripped. They look great. But they're actually not bad actors. It's just that they have a terrible script.
Yes, and I'm not going to lie to you. The actor playing Jax, Saber.
The character.
Yes, the
Let's say the
character of
character.
Jax
Yeah.
is very obnoxious.
Yeah, let's jump into the plot and like talk about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because this movie takes place right after the last one. And they, of course, because the first one was a huge success, and it was the first video game movie that actually made money. And they were like, oh, we're on to something. So naturally, they rushed that sucker right into production. So that movie ended. They forced a cliffhanger on the end of the first movie where your favorite voiceover actor shows up as basically Shao Kahn, which we should call really Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
I mean, it kind of sounded like him, yeah.
Yeah, so he showed up in the last one, forced in, and of course, all of our characters were forced into a funny-ass dialogue scene to say, we're going to stand against you, and they all posed. And so this movie takes place right there. And of course, because there's so much different here, because half the cast read the script and refused. Now, Bridget Wilson, I believe she played Sonia, right?
Yes.
She read the script, had a choice, decided she didn't want to do this movie because at the same time she was offered I Know What You Did Last Summer as Sarah Michelle Gellar's sister,
Yes.
and she chose that instead.
Which was a terrible choice. Because she literally had
I wouldn't have
nothing
done this
to do.
movie. I would have done that movie over this movie.
But she had nothing to do in that movie. She
Yeah,
was just
still,
the bitchy sister.
It would have got her more publicity than this movie did.
I guess you're right.
I mean, I think everybody kind of knows who she is, but maybe it's because of the the earlier movies that we've seen. The actor who played Johnny Cage.
His name is Lyndon Ashby.
Yes, Lyndon Ashby. He also read the script and thought it was terrible and refused. Christopher Lambert. He also did not like the script and didn't come back. Although he's been really odd over the years, saying that, oh, they had been planning to bring me back. He's been saying a lot of weird rumors that never came around, and no one really knows if anything he's saying is true.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. Even like besides all that, if it's not true or it's true, I felt his absence here.
Big time. Oh, big time. Because right in the beginning of this movie, the only two actors we see that we've known from the ending of the first movie are Liu Kang and Katana. Mm-hmm. Then we have the replacement actors. Now, one of the replacement actors this is funny. I actually thought the guy playing Johnny Cage is Chris Conrad. He was in Airborne in The Next Karate Kid.
What?
He's
Who
the
was he in
villain
the next?
Karate Kid?
Get out.
Isn't he the guy that they're coming?
Oh, you know, that's the one with Hillary Swank. I don't remember
Yes.
that one.
I had to
blocked
point
that one
out
out because
yeah, and it's funny that he even did this for this. I guess they're like, just hey, bring him in for this cameo. It's really strange. And an actress, like I said before, a Swedish actress replaced
Bridget Wilson.
Bridget
Yeah.
Wilson, and even odder is James Remar replaces Christopher Lambert as Raiden.
I gotta say, that's a really bad choice.
It's a really odd choice. And you know what's funny?
It's really bad.
I really like James Remar, but man, is this a weird replacement.
I don't get anything coming off of him. Like, he doesn't emanate anything that Christopher Lambert.
No.
I just get a different vibe.
I think because Christopher Lambert is famous for playing the Highlander, he automatically brings this vibe to his role as Raiden, where you feel like he's like godly or next level in some way. But James Remar feels like it's just like your dad is Raiden.
Oh my God, yes, I felt that too. Like, it was like
Just
he
feels like
even
dad.
had like a dad bod.
Yeah.
And like they tried to give him like.
Oh, we're gonna get to that
Okay.
because when we first see him, he's dressed exactly like Raiden was in the last movie with the long white hair, completely unlike the Raiden of the video games. You know, I've always liked, and I think that's been the running debate about the video games, is that he's been portrayed by a bunch of like white males, and I've always taken that to be that it's not that he's an Asian god, it's just that he's a god that might be fluid and you don't really know what nationality he is, and that's how I think a god should. I love when Tilda Swinton plays like god characters because you don't even know what she is.
Yeah.
Like when you see her as characters, like when she did the ancient one, it kind of worked for me because
she's just
she
a
doesn't
being.
seem
Like, she's
she
just a
seems
being.
like
Yeah.
anti-gender. She seems like anti-race. Like it's just I kind of love that, and it's like in the between there. And I've always liked that about Raiden, although Christopher Lambert's Raiden is the Highlander with long white hair.
It kind of is, but you know what though? There's just something about him, like his presence on screen.
Yes, that always.
You know,
absolutely.
Maybe it's because I am thinking like Highlander, but you know what? He just has a presence on screen. It's different than James Remar playing him.
Oh,
it's
this
different.
is a huge difference. So Dad is now Raiden, and we get a ridiculous sky beam of Shao Kahn. Now even Shao Kahn is being replaced here. He is now replaced by Brian Thompson, famous for being the villain in Cobra. He's also been on the X-Files. Everybody knows this guy without even knowing this guy.
You'll see his face and you'll just know him.
He is next level terrible in this film.
I am to be feared, for if you fail me now, I will feed your rotting corpse to the worms!
He's got dialogue that is completely dreadful. And this movie opens up very quick. And there's a thing in this movie. This is a theme. This movie doesn't want you to even think for a moment. So it's going to constantly bombard your senses with ridiculous things.
Like, ever since he entered the screen, like he entered, the movie, I noticed everything wrong about him. Everything. Oh. Like, from not just his acting, but even the outfit that they put him in, the costume, and his headpiece was like so flimsy. Every time he moved his head, the top that was supposed to be metal would jiggle. Yeah. I'm like, why?
He's got like a what's that called? A warrior. Like it's a Shogun warrior suit. Yeah. It's like pieces of a Shogun warrior's helmet and everything, but his bald head is very round. And this thing is giant on it and jiggling, and it's got that. And sometimes they're like, hey, put the skeleton mask on him. And then other times they're like, no.
Okay, but the skeleton mask is so bad. It looks like dollar store shit.
That's the oddest thing, because it's like they didn't know how to step up the video game into reality. Because it's like, this is like a cosplayer convention version of the video games.
Yes.
And while also being very kind of accurate, because at the time there was like 4 video games, maybe the 5th one was out around this time. And with that all being said, the games really, their outfits didn't look great. I would say not even until the last blank amount of video games that the costumes started getting really elaborate and interesting. And there's that joke I think we mentioned in the last one that famously the guys who were creating the video games, Ed Boon and John Tobias and Midway Games, they were all like, we gotta stop with the palette swapping. So they were all basically they were taking a character and just changing the color and just saying it's a new character, giving it little things. And they, at this point in time, had tons. And they actually tried to remove some of those characters from the third video game, and they added the second Sub-Zero with his mask off and a scar on his eye to try to change him up from just being a swap color. And I think Scorpion's not even in that game. And people got mad because those are the characters that people loved. And they were like, wait a minute, you guys were sick of the palette swap, and we got Melina and Katana. Now we have Jade and Tanya. We have Sub-Zero, Smoke, Scorpion, everybody, Reptile. They all just palette swapped. And they're like, aren't you sick of this? And they're like, no. In fact, they went so far as to say, like, give us more. And this movie is like, we're going to do every one of those characters because we got to please the fans. So every character up until this point shows up in this damn game.
I think I asked you. I said, wait, is that supposed to be Sub-Zero, or is it supposed to be Smoke, or is
Which one was
and
this?
then it ended up being Reptile? And remember in the last movie, remember in the first movie where he attacked
was
Liu
green.
Kang? No,
He's green.
It was dark and I couldn't tell
Oh.
the color, and I'm like, wait, he's wearing black.
And he was
What
also a
is
lizard,
happening?
a tiny lizard creature
Yes,
went into a statue.
And I forgot that he turns into a human man.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, what is happening? Is that Sub-Zero? He's gone dark? Because everyone wears the same fucking costume.
You actually said, "Is this Noob?" Because you thought
Oh, that's
it
right.
was
It
dark.
is Noob. Yeah, Noob. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, this is so creepy. Like, why can't they get different costumes?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be the same costume but a different color? It's stupid.
Yeah, and that's something that's so funny is that the creators of the video game actually embraced every fan speculation. This is one of those franchises that it has a rabid fan base, and the fan base will pick apart everything and come up with their own ideas. And sometimes they'll either troll those ideas, or they will use them. And so they kept getting funnier and funnier because in the backgrounds of some of the games, you see a character and they're like, who's that? And so they'll come up with mythologies. They'll also come up with these mythologies that, because in the first Mortal Kombat, there was a secret character, which was Reptile. And you had to do secret things to get him unlocked to fight him. And he was just a palette swap version of Scorpion. So people just started like coming up with these ideas for those things. Oh, there's a guy in the background. He's a dark version. This guy's called Noob Zabot, which is the two creators' names backwards. There's a purple one. Oh, he's Purple Rain. So they started calling him Rain. There was one that's on fire. They're like, it's Blaze. All right. And so they just start. And you know what? What I love about this video game franchise is like, okay, cool. You guys like that. We're going to do it. And we're going to keep establishing these lores and these crazy things. And we're going to give into what you guys come up with. Kind of love that. And I love that about the games. All that craziness, though, is really easy to do in a video game. But in a movie, this comes out like shit. So yeah, right off the bat, to basically do this fandom, not like the first one where they're like subtly doing fights and build-ups and character reveals.
Yeah.
This movie's like, fuck that. Right in the opening, like 6 characters jump out with Shao Kahn.
Yes. I was like, okay, well, I like the first one. I like how it opened because right off the bat with the acting, I don't remember the actor's name, but when he kills Liu Kang's brother, that whole scene, I was like, okay, I'm in this because this is going to be so over the
When
top.
Shang Tsung kills
Yeah, when Shang Tsung kills the brother,
Yeah.
I was so in love with that actor's
Yeah.
overacting.
Because the hamming kind of works.
It worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, no.
No.
No. Because right off the bat, we get Shao. Now, this is really funny, too, because the portal opens up from... is it Outworld or is it Netherrealm? I don't really know here. Right?
Outworld. It's Outworld.
It's Outworld,
yes.
right? So Outworld rips open and they just come into Earthrealm. And Liu Kang goes, hey, we won the tournament. I thought that was going to shut the portal. I thought we protected Earth. And then this is the best thing.
Well, that doesn't make any
The line of
sense.
dialogue to write this out. No, because if they lost the tournament, these tournaments have been happening for 10 tournaments. In the first movie, that's what they say.
Right.
For 500 years, there's been a tournament. And they have shut down that portal or for the next blank amount of generations before the next tournament.
Yes, but in the last movie, the ending was that Shao Kahn came out of the sky.
Yeah.
And they all got into fight poses like they were ready for it.
Yes, and that's where Liu Kang is, like, what we didn't see was Liu Kang saying, how is this possible? We won. And then this is how they write this dialogue. Raiden just turns to him and goes, it's a gateway, and we shut it. But gateway's also open.
That's right.
And they go, and then Liu Kang actually goes, that doesn't even make sense.
I thought our victory in Mortal Kombat closed those portals.
What closes can also open again.
What is that supposed to mean?
I think Sonya says that. I think Sonya's like, what does that even mean?
They completed
don't
the
even know.
tournament so that they could close the portal.
Yeah.
And that's not, and so they just said, well, fuck all that.
Fuck all that. And then they go, Raiden, what about the Elder Gods? That's who runs this tournament. They basically have this pact that this will happen. Why did they let this happen? And he's like, you know what? I don't know. I really don't know. And he's like, but I protect Earthrealm. I am the god of thunder, and I can protect Earthrealm. And so Shao Kahn now comes out of a statue that's blown up. And before his reveal, we get a bunch of lackeys. Which in this movie, his lackeys are like big wig characters from the video games. Right?
Yeah.
We get Ermac jumps out. Mm-hmm. He's a demon possessed palette swap of like Sub-Zero who can control or suck out souls like Shang Tsung, and is like demonic. Mm-hmm. He's super powerful in the video games. We get Montaro, who is actually a end boss in one of the video games, who is a horseman, played by Malibu from American Gladiators.
Yeah.
He's got a ram head. He's completely naked. He's just got a body of a horse.
I just want to see the making of this
a minotaur. Yes. We also have, I believe, I can't remember what other villain comes out here, but there's a couple of them. And then Sindel, first off, Shang Tsung walks out and does some bad acting here. He delivers some dialogue, and I think, I'm going to try to remember this. He says, I'm going to try to do my best acting here. Earth was created in 6 days, and in 6 days it will be destroyed.
That was very
and
good.
Then humanity will rest again.
You can't see him, but his face is like purple, like bright red.
Was that it? I think I got it. I don't remember, but I'm like, oh my god, what?
Shao Kahn, Emperor of Outworld.
The earth was created in 6 days, so too shall it be destroyed. And on the 7th day, mankind will rest in peace.
That was a good one.
Then Sindel walks up.
In her god-awful leotard.
Katana goes, well, first we hear a scream. That doesn't even sound like a scream. It just seems like a shriek. And then Katana sees Sindel walk up. And he goes, Mother? And now Sindel says, and then she goes, Mother.
I thought you were dead.
I thought you were dead. Now deliver the line of dialogue that you've been waiting to say.
Too bad. You will die.
And then just Katana's face, and she's like, huh. Okay, then.
Such a bad line delivery.
She puts her hands on her hips and does the whole thing.
Too bad you will die.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the whole thing.
You want to talk about her outfit. Because
Okay.
You were talking about the leotards and everything like that.
It looks like the 1980s, like, jazzercise leotard. That, it's like, it's just, oh my God. It's like those pants that David Lee Roth wore in the 80s, those spandex ridiculous pants. Like, that's what she had on, and there's no effort put into this outfit at
This
all.
is 100% cosplay. This is I'm just gonna take a stab here. I don't know where it started, but I'm just gonna make my own lore. This is how cosplay started. This movie was the first cosplay.
I feel you're right, but I feel like if this movie had what did you say, $30 million budget?
$30 million.
You can't spend $50 on a freaking outfit because this thing was like from Kmart. Okay,
I'm gonna say that people are gonna tell you that this was hard making these costumes.
Jesus Christ, it was so embarrassing. Like, and she had camel toe.
Yeah, it looks very painful in her crotch.
Yeah, she's not even like comfortable in this thing.
She looks very uncomfortable, and the delivery of that line is iconic. I think everybody is saying that this is some of the worst dialogue ever written, Too bad you will die. I don't even know if it's the worst line ever written. It might be one of the worst deliveries
It's one
of
of
a line.
the worst deliveries of a line of all time.
It's almost like she is laughing at herself while saying it.
I mean, I feel bad for this actress. I do. Because she's synonymous with trash line delivery. But
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it was bad.
Yeah.
But it's not even just her outfit that sucks in this movie. It's everybody's outfit. Like, they just hadn't... Like, where... Did the budget just go to the freaking terrible special effects? Because I literally... I have seen better special effects in, like, movies made with cell phones. I'm not kidding.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, this movie does not seem like 97. This seems like a TV site, like a USA Up All Night production.
Oh my
which
God.
actually there was a Mortal Kombat TV show that looks just like this film.
Like, they did like a storm cloud when they came out of the portal. They did like a storm cloud, and they made a point to hone in on the clouds moving very fast, and there were gray clouds. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. And you can
like
see,
purple.
yes, you can see the line cut in each. I can't even describe
the placement of the overlap shots of special effects into the scenes on top of the film.
Yeah.
And you can see the green lining of where the light is coming through and messing up the key.
And you told me there's 87
hilarious.
people working the special effects
I
department.
counted 87
These
people.
people are fucking fired. Okay, they are awful.
They know because
What-
we'll get to the end of the film.
Oh my God.
One day we'll get to the end. We're in the first 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, and it's gonna get worse because we didn't even get to hamster balls yet.
Oh Jesus.
So, I mean, here in this scene, like Raiden fights Shao Kahn, and he kicks Shao Kahn's ass.
Yeah.
But they like flee, and they find out that the planet is being invaded from Outworld. And I think and when I say invasion, it's just like a cloud in the sky that's ripping open, and people are just dropping out. You just see little people dropping out of it, and then the world is starting to change because the two realms are merging somehow. And so Raiden's telling them that they have to go onto this underground thing and split up. That Liu Kang, that Sindel is coming for Katana. So he tells Katana and Liu Kang to split up. And he says, oh, and before this happens, by the way, the reason that the Shao Kahn is able to get away, and I dropped the lead here. Johnny Cage, he takes Sonya, and he's going to kill her. But Johnny Cage jumps in to protect her by doing his shadow kick from the video games, but is grabbed by Shao Kahn, and he's being threatened to be murdered if Raiden doesn't back up. Raiden backs up, and he still kills Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
so Johnny Cage dies in the opening.
I think that was the biggest mistake of the movie, because at least if we had Johnny, even if it's not the original actor,
Yes.
I feel like it would have added something to the film.
He would have been like the voice of reason. He would have been the character that we would have gravitated toward, because Liu Kang, unfortunately, isn't interesting in this film. He basically, Raiden says that they have a mission now, that Sonya needs to go collect the Warriors of Earth, which is her teammate Jax, who only had a brief cameo in the opening of Mortal Kombat 1.
That was a different actor, right?
He passed away.
That's right. He passed away.
Well, they wanted another actor that was in American Ninja movies, but he passed away, and then they got that actor, and then that actor passed away before this movie.
Jesus, terrible.
Yeah, and then this American Gladiator actor comes in to play him. She is told that she has to go search for him. I believe Raiden goes with her to search for Jax because they've got to collect the Earthrealm warriors. But he tells Katana that he thinks that Sindel has been resurrected by Shao Kahn, because the mythology here,
Isn't
at
that
least
his
in the
wife?
movie. No,
I mean, not his wife, but
Katana's mother and her father was another. I believe his name was Jared.
yeah.
They were the king and queen of Earthernia, I believe. I think I'm going to butcher this a little bit. And in the mythology, he was killed by Shao Kahn, and Sindel was taken as his wife, forcing Katana to be raised as Shao Kahn's daughter secretly.
Okay.
Without Katana knowing this. And then he made a sister for her as a clone of a Tarkatan blood, which is a Baraka, and of Katana's blood to make a perfect Katana. And that character's named Melina. And that's the mythology from the video game. And apparently Sindel had killed herself because she was being forced to be the wife of the man who killed her husband.
But then how did Katana get out of Outworld without Shao Kahn? Like, how did Shao Kahn allow her to escape from Outworld? How did
Katana joined the tournament with Shang Tsung, who was working for Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn couldn't join the tournament, so he had to send his warriors as, like, Raiden had to send his warriors. That's why Raiden couldn't fight in the tournament either, because they're not, they're
Raiden
gods
is a
and
god.
not mortals.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
So they're kind of like, they're called, there's elder gods, which are the top tier, which are like gods that can't, they're like beings above. And then there's the gods who could walk earth, the god of thunder, the god of wind, the god of fire, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so when Sindel...
This is crazy. I don't even know. Yeah.
I have so many questions, but like, so when Sindel, she killed herself.
Apparently she killed herself.
Okay, so she killed herself and left her kid to rot in Outworld with this fucking demon. Okay, fine. Whatever was wrong with you, Sindel. But anyway.
The Mortal Kombat mythology itself, the video games, is convoluted in this area as well.
When she gets resurrected, why does she hate her daughter?
So when she's resurrected, when they resurrect the dead, they use there's a couple characters. They don't say here who resurrected her. I don't believe they do. But usually when they resurrect these people, they come back as demonic forms because
like
it's
Scorpion, right?
Yes, he comes back he's enraged. She comes back. This happens in one of the video games. I believe it's 9. They say that she was resurrected and she kills like all of the heroes in the video game. It's insane. She comes back as an evil version of herself, but we find out that she was always a bad guy and she actually killed her husband.
Yeah, but she didn't. She killed her husband. Yeah, you told me that before. But then
a lot of people don't like that mythology, and a lot of people kind of enjoy that mythology.
But why does she hate? Why does she? I mean, her
so
daughter
she's coming
didn't
back
do
as an
anything.
evil slave, just like Scorpion, where she's being told that she's like a bad guy. So she's come back as her evil self. In the games, they kind of call these characters revenants. They don't go into this movie's too stupid for that. So there's no actual mythology that makes sense here. They're just saying that she was resurrected, she's his wife, and she wants to capture Katana at all means possible. I don't even know why. Apparently Katana is the key in this movie, but I don't really understand any of this.
Okay, so we know that. Okay, so Johnny Cage gets killed.
Johnny Cage is instantly
And
killed. They split up. Shao Kahn's
take
invading the Earth, and they leave to invade all of Earthrealm. Raiden brings the 3 of these characters who have survived, who are in grief for seeing Johnny Cage get killed. They're in grief they're in mourning for like a couple minutes.
Maybe about 30 seconds.
They forget very quickly.
They're fine.
Yeah.
So now
Raiden brings them to an underground passage because Shao Kahn was beat by Raiden very easily. Mm-hmm. Shao Kahn kind of puts his tail between his legs and runs off with his minions while invading Earthrealm and letting Earthrealm be mixed in with Outrealm. And everything's becoming distorted. The temples are starting to change. We see famous landmarks start morphing into like a hellscape. Mm-hmm. And basically Raiden leads them down to an underground passageway where he has a specific system of transportation that I can only describe as hamster balls. And he tells these guys to get inside the hamster balls and split up. He says, Sonya, come with me. And the way to travel in these devices is you stand up and put your hands into 2 bars to hold on to, face each other like you're going to make out, and then you roll into each other. So we get to see Raiden, basically James Remar, put his face into Sonya's chest.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then Katana and Liu Kang do it, and they have chemistry.
I mean, we already know
they're trying
that.
to hook up.
But they've only just met like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. He tells them to go search out Nightwolf. There's a godlike character, a godlike being who could help them learn how to hone their skills to fight Shao Kahn. And his name is Nightwolf, the Go search him out. Go take that hamster ball in that direction. Apparently, it's going to go near him. And we're going to go and look for Jax because he's an Earthrealm hero. And I know he has potential, although I didn't bring him along the first time. In fact, I didn't bring any of you along. That was Shang Tsung, who basically killed himself.
Yeah.
That was odd. That's an odd thing. But yeah, this movie now he's like, you know what? I got a lot of Earthrealm heroes we can pick up. So they split up. Now, Liu Kang and Katana end up at a spot and get attacked by, I believe, the robot Cyrax? Cyrax is in this movie?
He looks so ridiculous.
He's wearing sports equipment as his body.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a robot. And in the video games, this was a human who turned himself into cybernetic to perfect himself.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that at all in this. Like, there's no human elements left of this thing.
Yeah, they become complete slaves for Shao Kahn.
He looks like Chappie.
Usually it's Quan Chi and stuff like that.
You remember Chappie?
Chappie, nice. Yeah, and his twin brother, a palette swap version here, is not in this film, which is weird. But I believe, I don't even know if Cyrax is the one who shows up. Actually, it's Cyber Smoke. Smoke apparently is dead in this world, and Smoke is now a robot.
But how come it's yellow?
No, I get that mixed up. He actually attacks Jax. I forgot. Okay. Yeah, I mixed them up. But yeah, Cyber Smoke shows up and fights them, and they are saved. They're getting their asses kicked, but they're saved by Sub-Zero, who shows up maskless and has a scar on his face, and he shows up to help them. And it turns out that he is not Sub-Zero that we saw in the first movie because Liu Kang killed him. Liu Kang says, "I killed you." And he says, "Oh, that was my brother. He was taken under control from Shang Tsung, and he was he wasn't in control. And I basically don't blame you, but I am trying to find the person who did this to him, and I need to stop Shao Kahn because they're the ones that enslaved him, and I want revenge for him. I'm his brother, Kuai Liang." So he's like, "I'm going to help you." And he's like, "Katana's the key. We have to save her because they're hunting her." I don't know how he knows all of this.
Yeah,
and I don't know why Raiden doesn't tell them, "Hey, this Sub-Zero guy can help us." All right?
Raiden is completely useless.
Yeah. So they have a big battle and with Smoke. But when they finally win, that's when Scorpion shows up. Now, Scorpion is resurrected again to kill Sub-Zero. We're not told why he's hunting the Sub-Zero when the other Sub-Zero is the one that's already dead and why he's even back. He was enslaved. If anything, he should be after Shao Kahn as well because they enslaved him in the first movie. So instead, he just attacks Sub-Zero. Now, anybody who's ever played the games knows that he just thinks that this is the first Sub-Zero still, the one that killed his family. Mm-hmm. So he would attack him. But he's maskless and doesn't even look like the first Sub-Zero at all. And he doesn't even ask questions. He just attacks randomly. Mm-hmm. Get over here, the whole friggin' thing. And they have a fight in what's supposed to be ice, but it's salt.
Oh my god! Well, it doesn't even.
Yeah.
They didn't even try.
It's
like
just
the
so
set
cheesy.
Pieces. I mean, it's like between the special effects and the freaking set designers. I mean, I feel like these people. You had one freaking job. What is wrong with you?
Now, I'll give this movie this one credit. I'm going to give this movie one credit. It just throws everything at you, and you're like, "Oh, what? Who? Oh,
oh." There's a lot happening. Like you don't ever have a moment of rest.
Yeah.
But like it's just it kind of also like when you have to focus on like the fight scenes and not what's going on around the fighters like when you do in the game, because when I'm not gonna lie to you, when I watch you play Mortal Kombat, I look in the background because the background set pieces are so beautiful in the game that I always find different things to like look at. In these movies, the set is literally made out of paper mache. There's nothing. I can't take it.
Characters move like they're on wires.
Yeah, so you have
doesn't feel real at all.
No, and like the way they flip around and stuff, like you can tell they're on one of those like trapeze stages, like Cirque du Soleil, and but you have to focus on the humans and not the background because you'll just laugh. Like you feel like you're just watching some bubblegum like piece of crap sci-fi movie. It's the set pieces are trash.
And the fights happen so quick and they feel like we said cosplay, they feel like they're being made on YouTube.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel, and that's down to the people on YouTube. I actually think they're better. Here it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel real, and the fights feel so and they're coming without any like understanding of who these characters are or what's happening. So nothing has weight to it, and it feels really dumb. It virtually feels like you're just playing the video game. But in the video game, at least I know I'm in control of a character, and I'm just doing it for fun. And if I want, there's a story mode I can also play. These games didn't have it until later, but yeah. Here, none of that matters, so it doesn't matter what happens in each scene. They're just basically moving the characters like chess pieces, moving them on. And what happens here is that they're able to dispatch Scorpion somehow. But at the same time, Smoke is able to kidnap Katana, who can't fend for herself, and she just leaves.
Katana is suddenly helpless, like she's like the damsel in distress.
Or I think she has her fans, and you made fun of them, because at first
Yes.
she's fighting with this giant, thick thing.
Yes, but she's a damsel in distress because she literally has these. Oh my god, they're oversized, ridiculous fans. They look
like game
like
leaves.
aluminum foil, like that. But she literally does nothing with them. Like she just whips them
She
out.
poses with them, and she looks pretty.
That's
and
it.
that's about it.
Well, yeah, she's very beautiful, but like, there's no like flipping them around or fighting with them. It's just like she's just holding them, and they look like tinfoil. It's terrible. There was no action scenes with her that were even worthy of looking at.
Yeah.
It was a shame.
And I think that before she gets taken, I think that her and Liu Kang have a moment where they kiss.
They almost do. They get interrupted.
I actually thought they kissed
No,
here.
they get interrupted because what's his face comes out of the portal and like stops them, and they're like, taken aback by it.
That's in the opening, right? With Shao Kahn?
No, right when they're about to kiss, when they're in the tunnel.
Really? Because I feel like they kiss because he's fully invested and they're like together. And they actually like share like, I'm going to protect you. I won't let anything happen. We're together kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing where they're together. They're into each other.
Yeah.
They're definitely committed to it, and which is odd. She's also like 1,000 years old.
No, excuse me. She's 10,000 years old. They said it in the
10,000 years old.
10,000. Remember, I made a joke to you about it in the first movie when we watched it. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So she gets taken by Smoke, and they turn around, Sub-Zero and him and Liu Kang. They see that they lost. They basically she has been taken. They lost their mission, and Sub-Zero just goes, "I'm out," and just leaves the movie. He basically says, "Oh, we failed," and he leaves.
Yeah, he just like, okay,
Why would
I'm
he
done.
help Liu Kang now go on and try to find out a way to save her? Because he knows how important this is.
Yeah.
Instead, he just gives up and leaves the movie. And Liu Kang just gets in a hamster ball, travels on, and we basically watch him go through a desert.
Yeah, okay. That's a thing that I was like, wait a minute. He's in a desert. Where is he walking to?
He's randomly walking. And that's the thing in this movie. People randomly walk
then-
until they find what they need to find by accident.
Exactly. But I realized that we know why he's in the desert, because he's on a mission to find Nightwolf.
Yeah, but how does he even know? He just knew to take this hamster ball to this area and then trek on, but he doesn't know where to go from here. It's not like he was given a map.
No, he's just
being-
wandering
yeah.
about.
So and he's not even them, he's just him. And he walks around like Jim Morrison and Wayne in Wayne's World 2.
Hey, how do I get back? Follow the weird naked Indian. Cool. Wake up!
He's just following nothing.
Yeah.
And he wanders upon a camp and gets attacked by a wolf. And the wolf transforms into Nightwolf.
Okay, can I just make a statement about Nightwolf?
He's
think that
looks exactly like his
he
character.
does.
Yeah.
And I will say this. It was a drink of water.
Yeah.
It was a breath of fresh air.
He's played by an actor who's in a lot of movies his name is Lightfoot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actor's name. He's in a lot of stuff we've seen, and he's perfect. Originally, they wanted him to wear a Stone Temple Pilots t-shirt and have a completely different look, and they went, no, we should do exactly like the game.
He looks like
and he
the
looks
game.
perfect.
And you know what? I will say, out of both movies, so in 1 and 2 that we watched, he's the one that looks the best to me out of everybody.
I
Everyone.
think they nailed a lot of Johnny Cage stuff. Like, I actually like the way he looks. Like, he's in that shirt. He still looks like an actor. and he does the glasses. I think I like it a lot. And I actually think Liu Kang is great.
Well, yeah, Liu Kang is also like,
He never wears the outfit, but he looks great.
Yeah, he's my favorite, I think, Liu Kang, in the movies. But yeah, and Johnny too, but like we don't have Johnny in this one. So, but I will say that like of all the characters and the way they look, I think that they did Nightwolf good. I liked it. I mean,
Yeah, because Scorpion and Sub-Zero,
no, they're wearing the same freaking outfit.
I kind of
and-
like what they look like in the first one a little bit, but here you can tell that it's like stuffing with like pulled over like tights over the stuffing to make
it's
it look
a
like
leotard.
Yeah.
Yes, they're wearing leotard.
what is it called, lycra or whatever. They
It's
pull it over
spandex.
spandex.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see it in every shot. It just
Terrible.
doesn't look good at
No.
all. It looks very, and I can see why they did it. They had to pad these stunt guys.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the guys wearing the robot suits, the Cyrax and Cyber Smoke. They said they couldn't even see. The actor J.J. Perry, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
the stunt guy, he said he got hurt because he couldn't even. There was
I
no
mean, yeah,
visibility.
You can look at that and,
Yeah.
and realize there's no way to see. Well, Liu Kang is in the desert now, right? So he meets.
He finds a night wolf
Nightwolf.
who turns into a wolf in terrible morphing CG.
Yeah, well, all the CG in this is
Actually,
absolutely dreadful.
this might be the best special effect, and that's saying a lot.
I know, you're right.
This might be the best one because it actually looks kind of fun of seeing his bad transformation.
It looks decent. You know why? Because it happens really quickly.
Yeah.
Like he turns from the wolf into a human really quickly.
But when they show one shot, he's got a giant wolf head, and the wolf is a small creature compared to a human. So why he has a giant wolf head is beyond me. You think he would be a human-sized wolf,
Yeah.
like a werewolf. And Liu Kang says you can transform, and he goes, "That's my animality."
Okay, first of all, I hate that word.
It doesn't even make sense because an animality is like a take on a fatality, which means that it's an animal form of killing somebody in the video games. So they're calling an animality a transformation into a creature.
Okay, but this is what bothers me. Didn't Ed Boon have something to do with this? Or didn't he at least have to, agree with all this?
Ed Boon and John Tobias have said in all of their career, this was the worst experience I've ever had working on
Jesus
something in
Christ.
Mortal Kombat. They said this was horrible.
Well, I'm sure they didn't have any trouble cashing the checks.
I can't imagine there was much. But yeah, I mean, just to take their rights of the whatever. And also, they use Ed Boon's voice because he does Scorpion's voice.
Yeah.
And so, again, we got, get over here, get back here, that kind of stuff again.
Come here!
Fuck off.
I wish Scorpion.
I wish
said
someone would have
that.
said toasty at least once.
Oh man.
To make that reference. Or I can't remember that
So,
person.
The animality.
The animality. So it doesn't even make sense. He just calls a transformation an animality. It's my animality. And I can turn into a wolf because my name is Nightwolf. You get it? He looks great, but this actor doesn't have much to do. And he says you have to practice turning into you have to find your animality. You have to you got to find your center,
So
whatever
the
the hell it
whole
is.
reason that Raiden sent him to find Nightwolf was so that Nightwolf can say, "It's up to you, Liu Kang. You need to find your animality."
Yeah, that stupid thing that they go, it's inside you all along, Liu Kang. And you know what? I don't care what's going to happen to Earthrealm. I'm out. And he leaves the movie
He
too.
leaves the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And even more odd is that I think it snows in the desert. And he's like there shivering until a really skinny, almost naked woman shows up.
Yeah.
And sits
Oh my God.
on him and starts almost blowing on his fingers like sexual as hell.
Yes, so she's like half naked.
Yeah.
She's got a
She looks like a tribal character you've seen in any old movie.
yeah, just like a loincloth
A
going
loincloth,
across her
yeah.
boobies and then across her bottoms and stuff. And then all of a sudden, she's blowing on him.
She's like
Not
on
blowing him, but
No,
blowing.
blowing on his fingers with her mouth like wide open while giving him sex eyes, and she gets right up on his mouth virtually.
Yeah.
And she's like, let's do it. And he's like, oh, my heart belongs to another. I can't. My heart belongs to another. And she's like, son of a bitch.
And then so she transforms into Jade.
Yeah, but she says she's here to help.
Yeah, so she
That was a
tells
test.
She tells Liu Kang, yeah, it was a test.
It's hard.
She's here to help. She has to help find Katana. And she's wearing also another leotard. It looks freaking terrible. The
it
costumes
looks
are
bad.
so bad.
This actress actually loved playing this character. I mean, loved this character. There's so much information out there of her talking about it, like going, "Oh my god, it was so great. I loved it. I loved it. I'm so happy about doing it." Although she really doesn't do anything.
I mean, not really. She does. She actually does have a little fight scene
With staff, I think she uses the
Yeah,
staff.
she does. She has a little scene for herself. Like
Yeah.
she fights. But so after
She tells him, like, I know where Katana's being held, and I'm going to bring you there. I've come to make sure you're the worthy, and then I'll help you. And they go. But we cut back and forth as a lot here. We cut back to Sonya and Raiden finding a base where Jax is supposed to be, which is like their military base, but it's in the middle of a desert as well.
yeah,
And it looks like shit's gone down because the invasion's happening. And this is where Raiden just goes, "Okay, you go in there and find Jax. I'll see you later. I got to do some other things."
I know he just leaves. Okay, who knows who's in there?
Yeah.
Bad guys or whatever. He just leaves her, and then she finds Jax on a slab. He's not dead, but he's okay. The actor is very fit. This is the guy from Turbo or whatever from Saber from the American Gladiators. But like he's very fit, but he has these comical arms. I
They
know
don't
he's
look terrible.
but they are comical. Like, we know Jax in the game, like he has those arms. They're like bionic implants or whatever, right?
Yes.
And so
In
but
the
he's-
games, it's implied that he has had his arms ripped off. And there's a couple of mythology things there. He's had them ripped off and replaced by cybernetic arms.
Yes, but okay, so we see him laying there, and Sonya's like, "Oh, these metal shackles. You're. How do I get you out of here? I need to find a tool." And he goes, "Or I could just do this, and he lifts his arms up and breaks the freaking shackles.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Why is he laying
Why
there?
are you still laying there?
Yeah.
If you could have always gotten out of this, you could have done it when they put you in it.
I think he was just taking a nap. But shit went down around him, apparently, and he never woke up.
I mean, but so she walks in the room, Sonya, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Jax, what up, homie?"
She might have
And-
hit some keys on a computer that was apparently had him sleeping, and then it like woke him up.
But
I think that's
no.
maybe what happened in the
There
scene.
was nothing.
She might have just put on, boop, 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 boop.
He
Oh,
didn't
it's
have
all.
like a freaking head thing on or
I
nothing
don't know.
like that, like a mind
Well, he
control.
had all things on his chest because I couldn't stop staring at this actor. It didn't seem like he had nipples. I couldn't stop staring at it. Like I was like, "Where's his nipples?"
Oh my god,
Just
it was so
really
funny.
odd areolas.
I wasn't looking for nipples.
I
I
know
was,
I was. I
looking
couldn't
at
stop
his
looking.
arms, but I'm like, okay, dude, you could have gotten out of this the whole time.
My favorite thing though is he takes his jacket and he just rips the sleeves off and puts his jacket on.
Yeah, but then we find him later in a scene where the jacket is literally
It never
like
had
nice and
rips.
hemmed.
Yeah.
There's no fraying.
There's no fraying.
It's just a vest. Like they didn't even care.
Yeah.
And then
This isn't a Vin Diesel shirt.
the costumes verbally. But the costumes in this movie constantly
Change. Yeah.
Constantly. It's so bizarre. Like it's so obvious.
Poor Sonya is always wearing a white wife beater,
Mm-hmm.
a white wife beater and shorts, like high shorts. And even when she's fighting in mud, even when she's fighting in sand or blowing up or there's smoke bombs going off, she's always perfectly in white clothes.
Yeah.
And she's a Tide ad.
Yeah,
She
she
looks
is.
like a Tide. Like they should have just used this.
I mean, they
even
should
Sonya
have.
Blade uses Tide.
Yeah, because she gets in that mud scene, that mud fight.
She gets in a mud fight right after this.
and
yeah.
and she's like completely. She's like, oh, I gotta find a river to wash up. Well, damn, that
river was serious.
must have been like the Lake of Minnetonka or whatever, because the healing waters of
healing
Lake Minnetonka, because that shit was, I'm talking about bleached clean. There was not a speck of dirt on that tank top.
Yeah. Well, they get attacked
Wow.
by the robot Cyrax, and they have a fight with him. He's known as the mustard version of the robots. There's a mustard and ketchup, and ketchup's not in this. That would be Sector. And Cyrax is the only one here, and they fight him, and they beat him. And then these two characters go off. But I will point out that Jax is obnoxious. He's the character in all these movies, especially in the 90s. He's what I would call, and I think it's terrible writing, and I don't think a lot of people point this out, but it's like black comic relief. and it feels very stereotypical, and I hate it. Usually there's a lot of this, and people don't mention it enough, like how embarrassing that is for those actors that have to play, oh, I have to be the one that's always mouthing off and saying, like, I can't take this shit, and I have a one-liner all the time. It sucks.
Yeah, see, he didn't have any dialogue in this movie. What he had was just a bunch of one-liners.
Yeah, they didn't know how to write him as a strong character. They just wrote him as a trash-talking asshole.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
Yeah, and it sucks. I was waiting for them any moment to say he was going to start rapping or have a giant gold chain to make him even more stereotypical.
Like, it was just such a cliche.
In the video game, Jax is like the baddest motherfucker around. Like, he's always ready to help, and Sonya is like his best friend. In this, they seem like they've never been friends.
Oh my god, they seem like they're just acquaintances. Like, I knew you from high school type deal. Like, there was no like connection that I felt like they cared about each other.
Not at all. In fact, right after this sequence, he literally just leaves her and starts walking away, and she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna save Earth. And he's like, I don't got time for this shit. And no, like, what? Saving Earth? You don't got time for saving Earth? You're a military person.
Yeah, and you literally live on Earth. Like, what is it was just
Shao Kahn will be pleased.
Shao, what? I'll take homeboy. Yo, I take it this ain't something we can talk about. Guess not.
Yeah, now what?
So yeah, they basically split up, but they are attacked because everybody always knows where these characters are, and they are attacked by Melina jumps out. When Melina jumps out, and you were talking about this. You were expecting like the mouth and the monster thing.
Well, they could have at least given us something. Yeah. I mean, I even had to ask you.
Just has size, and it's just a woman in a loincloth as well.
Yeah.
And she's easily beat. I think that she's actually beating Sonya until Jax comes back.
Yeah, Jax actually steps in.
Or does because I think that at this point they run into Liu Kang and.
Yeah, but Liu Kang
Jade,
doesn't do anything. Oh, you know what? Jade have like a little bit of.
And I think they get attacked by a bunch of warriors. So there's these guys in just these black masks or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they fight all together and they help each other out. At the same time, we also get clips of the bad guys. And there's a bad guy who's telling them that they already killed 2 Earthrealm warriors. Well, he just randomly says that he killed Cabal and Stryker.
Yeah, but we don't see it.
Never happens on a screen. And the guy who's saying it is Rain. And apparently, Shao Kahn's mad at this. So he takes his hammer and hits him into a fire and kills him. And then says, I'm going to make my new captain now that Rain's gone. And Mataro and Ermac are like, we want the job. And he's like, I'm going to give it to Sindel. Fuck you too. And they're like, nah. So they all hate each other. I don't really understand these characters' plots.
Yeah, well, they're all bad guys anyway.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Sindel is now the captain of the army, although she's a resurrected dead person. I don't really understand any of this. She's not a zombie. She just seems like a normal person who's just pissed off.
Doesn't Shao Kahn promise that he'll give her soul back or something?
Does he?
I thought.
Why would she even want that?
So she can be with her daughter again.
No, because she goes in there and taunts her daughter.
No. She does. She says he promised her that she was gonna get her soul back because she was like a different version of herself, and she wanted to be her old self again so she can be with her daughter.
I thought it had something to do with killing Katana.
Well, yes, because when she was resurrected as evil.
No, I know, but I thought their plot here was to take Katana for a certain kind of ritual of some sort because she's put in a cage and they say that she's the key.
This is what I asked you when we were watching the movie. I was like, wait, why are they keeping her there? Like, what is the reasoning to put her in this cage?
I'm sure it was said here, but I was blank on this film. There were so many things, like, it's just so stupid.
Unless they had to kill Katana so they can restore Sindel's soul.
Who the fuck? No, and why would she even want? Because she was a good guy. So she would go back to being a good person.
That's true.
Yeah, so I don't know why she would want her soul. Why would Shao Kahn even say that? And there's a really funny scene where he offers her a drink of wine, Katana, and she takes them and she spits it all over him.
Yeah. Well, they had to promise Sindel something.
Brian Thompson's like,
That's so gross.
He just looks.
I can't stand spitting. It's
His
so gross.
acting is so great, by the way. But yeah, and also to get more of this, Raiden has gone to the Elder Gods and asked them, "What the fuck is going on? Why is this happening?" And the Elder Gods are like, basically, it's just like a moving fire, and wind, and they're just like, yeah, this is some shit, but it's got to happen, and there's nothing we can do about it. And you know what? You should give up your mortal soul. You should give your immortal soul up and become mortal to help the mortals.
Yeah.
And is that something you're willing to do? And he goes, huh. Okay. And we also get a really weird interaction where we find out why Shao Kahn is doing what he's doing. His father is a cloaked man. Looks like he walked out of that He-Man live action film, like this, like the same cape that was like passed over from Skeletor in that film is on this guy. And apparently this is Shinnok. And Shinnok is also like Raiden. He's a god.
Isn't he Raiden's brother?
We find out that Shinnok is Raiden's father.
Oh, father.
And also Shao Kahn is Raiden's brother.
Okay, Shao Kahn is his brother.
And that Shinnok is like, did you kill your brother? And he's like, no. And he's like, you're weak. You know, you need to kill Raiden. He's in our way. It's like, I'll get to it. You know? So now all the characters have converged onto this one spot, and the world's going like this shit. And they're filming at a really cool location. It's like those rocks. I don't know where this is, but the rocks are all carved, and there's like homes in the rocks. It's like old, ancient. I think that was used in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Are you saying this is an actual location and not a set piece?
That's an actual location. That's
wow.
like, you know what, Last Crusade, where they're at that same place?
Yes.
I think it's the same place. I don't know. It doesn't look bad. I think it looks pretty good. Unless it's like Crazy Horse or something. Because Crazy Horse is like that too, right?
Yeah,
where it's like carved into the wall, like the rocks, like the old ancient.
I have to look into the
Doesn't
location.
matter. So we're going to move on.
Yeah.
They all converge. They all get together. And they're at that place. And they're like, where do we go from here? And of course, the whole time, Jax is hitting on Jade. No one trusts each other, and that's when a man jumps out of a thing in front of them, and it's Raiden, now looking like he's a member of Smash Mouth. He's got bleached tips. His hair is bleached blonde.
It's cut short.
He's got a no shirt on with an open vest that has no sleeves. And it's James Remar, and he's like, it's my new look. Do you like it?
Oh my god, no.
And no one answers him.
No, we don't like it.
I don't know about this.
Oh my
All
god.
he needed was like a barbed wire tattoo and like a heart on his chest or something,
so
just to nail how ridiculous this looks. And he's like, I'm with you guys now. I'm going to help you, and we have to go into Outworld. So I'm going to make a portal, and apparently Shao Kahn and his army have rode up on horses, and they're like, oh, Sindel, kill them. And she starts screaming, and she starts making an avalanche. But really what they wanted was for them to jump in this portal because it was a trap. They're like, it worked. They all went in the portal, and now they're in Outworld. And like, that's what we wanted all along.
Yeah. Well, Sindel's scream, might I add, is the most god-awful, ear-piercing, terrible thing. And she does it more than once on the screen.
Yeah, and the actress has to hold her mouth open like a woman in Swim.
Jennifer Field.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They jump in this portal, and they're in Outworld, and this basically leads them into fighting a bunch of characters that we haven't seen in the games yet. And each character fights them all.
They're just like, they're all dressed the same, right?
I think Liu Kang and Katana fight. I think they go and find Katana, and they free her somehow. And it's like this was their plan to lead them all here. But then they also kind of fail because Katana is freed, and they fight Barakas, like a bunch of Baraka characters.
But doesn't Shao Kahn kill Jade at that point? Because
so what happens is we find out that they get attacked by Sindel or something, and basically it comes out that Jade was a bad guy, and Liu Kang's like, "You're gonna die for this," and Jade's like, "Oh shit, maybe you're right," and she sneaks off. And the next scene, she gets killed by Shao Kahn picking her up, and a statue comes alive, and it looks like the worst CG you can imagine.
And it eats her.
And it eats her and then burps. So why Jade did what she did?
Stupid.
Why they did this is beyond me, because none of it works for them.
No.
And Raiden has become mortal to fight with them. And apparently when you go mortal, you look like a douchebag. So I guess that's what being a mortal is like.
I can't unsee that outfit that they put him in. I mean, and also it was really bad casting, like we said earlier.
James Remar does a fight scene, and you can clearly see that's not him. Well, by the way, you asked this before, and I forgot to talk about it. But so what happened behind the scenes is that the actor who's playing Liu Kang started having to do the stunt choreography for this movie.
Okay.
And so he had to start filming it, and because they were rushing production so much, he was on one set directing some of the stunts and helping out.
Okay.
And while they were filming the scenes for the Baraka fight, Tony Jaa had to step in and be him.
Oh.
And so if you watch every scene, you can clearly tell it's another actor with a wig on.
Oh shit!
And
I didn't notice.
It's a lot of cool stuff with like chain fighting, like he's fighting while hanging onto chains.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Tony Jaa. And that's amazing because Tony Jaa is incredible. This is one of those franchises that I don't understand why they just didn't use the famous stunt people as the characters.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
That goes into the next movie, and I'm going to talk about that more there too, because I don't get it. Because some of these stunt guys have become successful actors as well.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of them doing this stuff instead of having these other actors do it. I think they started figuring out a couple of these because, like I've been saying forever, one of our favorite people is Iko.
Iko Uwais.
Yeah, from Raid. And I'm like, put him in something.
Put him in
like
everything.
in these movies. And they started figuring it out because I think the other actor from the Raid plays Sub-Zero in the next film.
Yeah.
In the remake, which was like, that's cool because they're starting to figure out, get these actors who are also trained in martial arts of some sort or some kind of fighting technique. And Tony Jaa is perfect for that. So is the guy playing Liu Kang, because he also is able to fight and he knows what he's doing here. But the problem is they couldn't film all these scenes, so they had to keep swapping people out and to do the stunts.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, I believe, when you watch this James Remar fight. I believe James Remar fights two versions of like Reptile.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's a whole nother actor.
Oh my God.
It does not look like him at all.
It's so bad. And you know what? The stunt guy, when they clearly show the stunt guy's face.
Numerous
times. And he looks like he could actually play Johnny Cage because he has that like hair.
That's funny.
You know? And then they try to cut in the, like after the stunt guy does like a huge kick in the air, and then they pop up James Remar in the scene, like that's him doing the shot, and it just looks so goofy. Like, we clearly know that this old man is not doing this.
Yes.
You know, like this is so, it was so goofy. It was like beyond goofy.
Yes.
And I even mentioned to you, I'm like, oh my God, look at this line work. Like they're literally flying around on wires. It doesn't look fluid. It looks junky. It's terrible.
Terrible. And all the characters kind of fight, and you know what's funny is Raiden has like a thing for each one of the characters and says your problem that's holding you back is that you're not being you. You're not listening to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Jax, you don't need those arms. You're already a champion. And Sonya, you need to get away from not trusting anybody, and all this stuff. And it's just normal Confucius bullshit, like character stuff, where it's like, look in yourself.
Yeah, but that's funny that they said that to Jax, that he doesn't need those arms, because they literally get pulled off of him. And I thought that they were going to do in the games where he has robotic arms, but no, his real arms were underneath there.
Because he says it's an upgrade to my arms. It's a cyber enhancement to upgrade my arms.
But the way it was pulled off, I guess it's going to be chalked up to bad effects.
I actually wish they would have beat him with his arms. That would have been hilarious. They come off. I actually don't mind them. I actually think they look pretty decent.
No, the
movie.
arms look really good.
Yeah.
However, there was no like they should have made it like he had some kind of like wounds or scars or holes for where the cybernetic arms were implanted on him. Mm-hmm. But no, his arms look perfect. They're even greased up with like some nice baby oil. Like how are these arms cybernetic enhancements? They're literally not attached to your skin. Like, how is this happening? Like, what is attaching the arms to his real skin?
Well, that's why I was wondering if he was like under some kind of thing that he had to be woken up with a computer, and that's why he didn't wake up in that scene, because he does have it, like, it's attached into his body.
How?
There's like these straps in the back, and there's also some kind of thing around the edges, but it's just they didn't do enough work on it. They could have put some wires into his back or something like that.
Make him look a little bit more robotic.
And that's why they should have just went with him not having any arms.
Yeah, well, they couldn't do that because that cost about another $1 million.
Yeah, it's and also like, we want him to know that he's a good, he's a badass on his own. Or whatever.
He doesn't need the arms.
Basically, it doesn't really matter because all this shit comes together with one last fight on these steps of these ruins from the first beginning of the movie. Really, where Raiden.
It's the same ruins, right?
It seems like the same ruins.
Okay.
I don't know if they're just reusing the set and saying it's Outworld now.
I mean, yeah,
but
that means they just circled around all of Outworld and then came back there.
Yeah. Yes, pretty much. This is basically what happens is that Raiden is killed instantly by Shao Kahn. Mm-hmm. And because now that he's mortal, he can't do all the stuff that he's good at. And by the way, he does the jump and the sound effect from the video games where he says, Raiden Bombadine, which is really great. It's so cheesy. Shao Kahn kills him. And this pisses off the gang who basically hear what he said to them. And they all choose a bad guy to fight. Now, what's really funny is that Sonya gets Ermac. Mm-hmm. Now, if this was any video game stuff, she would be fucking killed, like, instantly. I think Ermac, like, takes on hand-to-hand, like, 4 of these champions in the game. But what's even funnier is he creates, with his soul enhancement thing, he brings back Sub-Zero from the first movie, but as Noob Saibot, and now there's like it's a dark version of Sub-Zero, like he's all in black.
Yeah, she's fighting both.
She fights both.
Yeah, but this is the most that Sonya as the character has had to do.
True.
Like she's in the first movie.
Yeah.
Bridget Wilson didn't have anything to do. She maybe fought like
she kills
for
Kano
half a second.
Yeah, and then they put her in that sexy outfit. Which, by the way, why isn't she in the sexy outfit in the opening of this movie?
True. That is another flub. But then again, Lake Minnetonka, okay, she cleansed herself. True. But yeah, so she fights both of them, but that was it was a decent fight.
She gets her ass kicked.
She does. But I mean,
she should be killed instantly by these two characters. But
yeah.
It doesn't matter because they're the good guys.
Yes, but our favorite thing is when she picks up the sand. Remember?
That was actually earlier with the robot fight.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah.
She actually doesn't pick up sand. She picks up a chemical that's flammable with her bare hands and blows it with a kiss onto Cyrax, and he blows him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like her move from the game, right?
Yeah, it's like the kiss move. She blows the kiss that explodes people.
I wish she did it more in
They
this.
tried to find ways to get the characters to do the things.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I mean, it's so cheesy. I like the way that the new movie kind of established it. We'll get to that, but yeah. So basically, it comes in this fight, and everybody picks a thing, and Jax decides to pick the horse, Motaro,
yes.
who is like I guess it's a joke that it's two people who worked on American Gladiators fighting each other.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that everybody's getting beat until there's a turnaround. Like even Liu Kang, he chooses to fight Shao Kahn. And he's starting to get beat. And then there's a moment where they all basically at the same time hear the words of Raiden.
Animality. Oh.
Well, no, that's not what they hear because they don't even know this is a thing yet, except for Liu Kang does. But they all hear it and they just turn the tides because, like, Jax's arms, the cybernetic parts get ripped off, like we were talking about by the horse guy.
Yeah.
And that's when he basically hears, "You're a badass on your own," and he gets up and he starts fighting. And because Sonya's getting thrown around by two characters, Jax has to go over and take tag team in, and that's when they become partners.
But thank God for Jax because she was getting her ass handed to her.
Yeah, well, I can't believe they didn't kill him, but yes, they take over and they're able to back-to-back kill these two guys. Mm-hmm. And he didn't. I don't think he killed Motaro. He just like knocked him out.
Yeah, we don't really see he got knocked out, but he was knocked out for the count. Like
No, he's done. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
And I think even Kitana turns the tide and starts beating Sindel. And Liu Kang remembers the animality, and he, enraged, becomes his animality. Now, when in the word animal is in the word, so you were thinking he's going to become an animal?
Yeah.
No. He becomes what I would describe as a third grader's reject and animation of a gargoyle. It's like a giant booger that his arms are like little stems. And he starts like going after Shao Kahn, who says, "Oh shit, you upgraded." And then we get to watch Brian Thompson's head turn into a cone head in the funniest morphing animation you've ever seen. And he turns into Ghidorah.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
He's like, it's not Ghidorah because I don't think it has wings. I don't remember, but it's like a Hydra.
It's a Hydra,
It's
but
a
there's
Hydra.
no. It didn't have wings. I don't think it
so
had
either.
wings.
But we get to watch this two boogers slapping into each other.
Well, first of all, isn't Liu Kang supposed to turn into a dragon?
He's supposed to turn into the dragon, the Mortal Kombat symbol
and
dragon.
So what happened there?
I don't know. He's a gargoyle, a booger gargoyle. You know what he looks like? You know that commercial of the cold medicine with the booger?
Yes.
It looks
Mucinex.
like that. Mucinex. It's like just fucking awful.
I think he's wearing little pants.
It's so embarrassingly bad. You know what's really great? Apparently, the producer of this movie that I talked about so much in depth, he said this was not the finished version. This was the test footage that they were working on this was the like they were working on the animation, and he's like, "Oh, this is the before finishing all the animation and doing the touch up and
so
doing
they
the
just left it."
Yep. And he says that the production company just said, we don't give a shit, put it out.
Why?
And so he's like, what you're seeing is the unfinished test footage.
And you can fucking tell because it's awful.
Embarrassing.
Why?
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to fix this.
I personally think that he's lying, just to cover it up.
That's true. I can't answer for that. Like, I mean, if something is that bad looking, like, how do you answer for that? Like, you can't say, "Oh, it's my special effects team, it's their fault." No, you're the fucking guy. You're the one that's behind this. You have to direct them.
Exactly.
And I mean, just to put that in the movie, I have never ever seen such bad special effects.
Agreed.
I mean, it's so awful.
It's awful.
I mean, we were talking
especially
about,
after Jurassic Park came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
As we were talking before about having seen part of our childhood is Clash of the Titans. And I will tell you that those special effects are better than this. Like, this movie is, the special effects were just so off-putting.
You always bring up, I don't know why, I think it's like a thing that instinctually you just kind of go after Ray Harryhausen's like special effects of these old clay animation movements.
No.
And you're always like, oh my god, this is just like Clash of the Titans.
No,
I
appreciated it for the time. Like, for the time, Clash of the Titans was like, wow, this is freaking awesome.
And I can imagine that when Clash of the Titans in particular came out, special effects had already evolved past that. And there's something quaint about the special effects in Clash of the Titans because I think we came so far from that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I still kind of like it. But yes, this looks like the shittiest. And this is why, and a lot of people, I think recently I've seen online a lot of people making memes about the 90s being the best. And I said, well, it's always because whenever you were 12 to 15 is the best moments that ever existed in the world for anybody.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. You just believe it. And I will say that personally, because I was of an age in the 90s where I was young enough,
Well, you had just graduated from high school when this movie came out.
True. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm around that age where, yes, the 90s, and I'll defend a lot of things in the 90s. You always talk about 90s being the worst music, but I actually disagree because there's a lot of great music. But movies, when people ask me what I think is the worst decade for movies, a lot of the time I say the 90s.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of the 90s was this junk of trying to figure out what we're doing. And Jurassic Park is the weird exception that feels like it was never of that decade because it's so advanced.
Yeah.
It looks so incredible.
It was mind-blowing when we saw it.
It's still mind-blowing. It still looks incredible.
Yeah.
Where all these other 90 movies look like this.
They do.
And it is an odd special effect. And it is very off-putting. And there's a couple other movies I would love to revisit, like Spawn, that have this is the special effects.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I would really like to revisit Spawn.
Yeah, well, we gotta do like a comic book movies that we've we're gonna revisit instead of never seeing before type of thing.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
That's definitely one to see because that's on this level. I feel like this movie is very close to that movie in the special effects realm. Lawnmower Man, all these movies in the 90s, they look like shit. I mean, just look, they can't hold up.
But here's the thing. Okay, so fine. You take special effects like this, right? Yeah. And they're just utter trash. So maybe you try a little bit harder with costumes and acting or something, just to try and offset the bad special effects that you're looking at.
I absolutely agree.
Give us something else. But they don't even try here. Everything about this movie is trash. The acting, the costumes, the set pieces, everything. I mean, it looks like like Captain Kirk in the original series when he's fighting the Gorn, and the background is made of just, painted styrofoam balls.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening in this whole entire movie.
Yeah, it's that bad trying to, I think, and I don't know if it's digital yet, like they were transferring from film to I don't know what it was, but it's all like that. It's so weird.
It's bizarre because
you're absolutely right though in needing something special.
It does need it. Like it needs you're gonna have that trash special effect. Okay, fine, but you need to counteract it with something better and more like something stunning. Like I always revert back to
at least the action.
Yeah, the action. Like, I always revert back to The Gate from 1987, a horror movie that we love. So, their special effects in that movie were so freaking well done and almost brilliant, the way they came up with that. And then we're here all these years later in 1997, and you can't do better than this?
Yeah. And I would love to point out what you just said. I would love to add on to that, is that I don't think The Gate is necessarily a great film. I think it's like a bare bones easy film.
Yeah.
It's the special effects that stand it up.
Yeah.
And it's something like that can elevate such a small movie and make it amazing. And we've seen a lot of movies like this where the plot is very minimal, but the special effects just push it into a new realm.
Yes.
And it also could be for the action. Now, we were talking about The Raid, right? And we brought up the actor from The Raid. The Raid is the greatest example of a movie with the smallest plot line that's done in a way where it's so exciting. It's so easy to explain The Raid. It's just a guy goes in a building and gets up the floors and has to save somebody. And all the way he has to fight. That's it. And that's what Mortal Kombat should be. A bunch of people need to fight each other to save the world. And it doesn't even get that right. No, and in fact, it's so bad. And this is what I can't stand. And I think with comic book movies definitely go into the same conversation here. You have all of this history, all of this weird backstory that's been set up. And you say, you know what would be cool for transportation? Hamster balls. What the fuck? Where in Mortal Kombat is the hamster technology?
Why couldn't he supply a portal?
Why can't they just use portals?
What is happening?
Raiden is the god of thunder who can do things. He doesn't do anything.
You know what it reminded me of? Like, I feel like somebody had watched American Gladiators more than once.
Maybe you're right.
Because that is a thing in American Gladiators.
American Gladiator challenge.
And they were in the hamster balls in that show. And so because there's 2 American Gladiators in this movie, maybe they just were like, oh, let's just, throw that in there. But I can't even imagine what the other actors were thinking when they got in these balls.
When they saw that, they must have been like, oh, fuck, we're in a shitty movie. Like, we're a really bad film. We're in trouble.
I am pretty sure that Talisa Soto, who plays Kitana, realized she was in a shitty movie 5 minutes into the first one.
True.
I do feel bad for these actors, but you know what? This is their life choices, okay? I cannot.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean...
At the end of the day... It's these ideas that these producers, these writers don't even want to look at the mythology and write a story around that. Like the idea alone of Scorpion and Sub-Zero's plotline in the games is enough to make a movie, and they still can't even do that.
They're like, you know what?
Let's just have that as a side thing. And they still can't. They still 2023 have still not figured this out properly.
I know. Well,
we'll get into that next time, but
yeah,
it's so crazy. It's like when you see or a comic book film, and you're like, why didn't you use any of this fucking years and years and years of writing to make your movie? That's what people want to see, and they're like, nah, what if the Riddler was a crazy dude who wears goggles? What the fuck? What is this? Like
who is signing off on this?
I don't know.
I want to know the person signing off on this. It's so ridiculous. I mean, so we're at the end here, okay?
Well, let's just slap it on here. Liu Kang beats him.
Liu Kang beats him, and then he shares a kiss with Katana. Finn?
I'm going to say yes. I can't even recall now. Everybody's like together. Everybody's happy. And what's really funny is the elder gods come. They banish. Oh, this is really funny. They banish Shinnok by making him into they basically roll him into a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
He gets transformed.
Oh my god. That's right. I was thinking the whole time about remember when in Superman when they get sucked into the glass thing?
Yes, it's a
Zod. Zod gets sucked into the
Phantom.
The Phantom Zone. Yeah.
The Phantom Zone is like a glass plane
that
they're flying around in. That's what happens to him. But it's like, what if the glass plate morphed into blocks into each other?
Yeah.
It's weird. Anyways, for Raiden doing what? Now, first off, these fuckers didn't help. Hundreds of people on Earth might have died. I mean, so many people because they were invading. Mm-hmm. And we see that, like, Jax was the only soldier, and his base is in the middle of a desert. We know people are getting murdered. And, instead of helping, they just go, Raiden, you did a good job. We're going to bring you back to life.
Yeah. I was like,
so they bring him back to life.
God.
So then I just said to you, what about that Johnny Cage guy?
Yeah. I was pissed. I was like, really?
Not even mention him.
Nope.
All laugh and they all hug Raiden.
I would be like, screw Raiden. I want Johnny Cage back.
In his Papa Roach outfit or whatever the fuck it is.
God, terrible.
His Huba stank. They walk off together. Now, apparently, there was footage filmed of more shit here that was going to set up what was really happening and why they needed Katana, I think. Apparently, they filmed scenes with Quan Chi, who would explain a lot of why these characters were resurrected, because that's what Quan Chi does. And
that would have been great
he's
to
the
mention.
one that's controlling Scorpion. And since Scorpion still seems enraged, it would have made sense that Quan Chi was behind everything. And apparently they filmed him, and no one has seen this footage, but apparently it exists. And it has existed. I don't know if someone shelved it, but they cut it out of the film for time. And because the movie wasn't shaping up well. And then, of course, the movie came out. It bombed. And they were working on a third one. They had it ready, ideas ready.
Oh, my God.
And they scrapped that quick.
Well, that was probably the smartest thing that they ever did.
Yeah.
Because this movie was flat out bad.
Yeah.
Okay, this movie was a 1. I gave this a 1 when I first saw this
I was
movie.
going to ask you, do you still think it's a 1?
I absolutely think it's a 1.
Yeah, so the question we normally ask is this really a bad movie? And so you're saying that you straight up still think it's a 1.
I straight up think it's a 1. I think I'm going to do my job here. And this is our segment called Why We Can't Have Nice Things. So this is going to give you, on IMDb, I'm going to give you a 10-star review of this movie.
I can't believe you could find one.
Oh, there's several. And I'm going to give you a 1-star review of this movie. So let's go with the first thing here. Okay. So this is a 10-star review. And this says it's best movie ever. Okay. Mortal Kombat Annihilation blew me away. I sat on the edge of my seat the whole way through. The anticipation was immense as I watched warrior after warrior struggle on endlessly for the championship of Mortal Kombat. First of all, the soundtrack is the best music ever. It is so catchy and alive. Definitely the best soundtrack I've ever heard, ever. The acting is superb in every way possible, and the actors were definitely the right choice. The script is very well written and flows well. And finally, the special effects were stunning. Everything looks so real and alive. This movie will vividly stick out in my mind as a true masterpiece. One of the other highlights in this film is that it is more than one genre. For instance, it is a romance, action, thriller, horror, comedy, war, sci-fi, and fantasy, packed into one gigantic adventure. This is the scariest film I've ever seen in my life. It is amazingly gory for its certificate. Mortal Kombat is not just a movie. It's a way of life.
Yeah,
10 stars.
That's a joke review. That was a guy, because he knows that there was lower reviews, so he was trying to boost it. People do that all the time. That's why we call this Why We Can't Have Nice Things.
Yes, I love the way that was worded, though. I knew it has to be a fake one.
It has to, because he kept nailing it. I love when he said certificate.
Yeah.
It earns its certificate.
Yeah.
Can I earn a certificate for something? I want.
You get the certificate for the cutest podcaster on earth.
Oh man,
I know you want to
take it. I'll take whatever I can get.
Slap me real hard. All right, so this is a 1. Okay, this is a 1 out of 10 review on IMDb.
This is you.
This is pretty much how I feel. Okay, and the title is "This Movie Must Be a Sign of the Apocalypse." This is hands down the worst movie that I have ever seen. And being a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, I have seen a lot of bad movies. There are absolutely no redeeming qualities in this steaming pile of crap. I've seen porno movies with better plots than this. As far as I can tell, our heroes just wander around blindly for the entire movie, going from one fight scene to another. In fact, some characters in this movie appear out of nowhere, fight some other character that has appeared out of nowhere, and then neither of them are seen again for the rest of the film. This might be excusable if the fight scenes were in some way entertaining or exciting. Sadly, this isn't the case. Every fight scene is exactly the same and always seems to involve our hero being launched backwards about 10 meters from a single hit. It takes some of the worst acting in the world to take a script this bad and make a movie that's even worse. But Mortal Kombat Annihilation does it with ease. Believe me when I say anything is better than watching this garbage. Avoid it at all costs. I'm sure being forced to watch this movie is considered torture in some parts of the world. 1 out of 10.
And you didn't write that? That was actually
that was coming from my brain.
Did you write it?
I did not.
Oh, I swear I was like, maybe this is a
That's
joke.
why I chose
it
it, because I feel like this movie is in my this review is in my soul, and this person gets me.
I got to tell you, to add to that, because this person brought up something that I actually had a little fun fact written on my notes here, and I forgot about it. But someone on IMDb went out of their way to count how many backflips and front flips there were in this film.
Oh my gosh.
And they wrote 54. And I thought that was really great.
Wow.
And if you're going to do a drinking game, that is the game. We actually did that to another movie once before. We gave someone, they had a drink every time someone backflipped. And it was so many, and I knew it. That's a movie I might bring back for our
yeah, I
Turkey
think
Fest
that
one
was, wasn't that the Turkish Star Wars or something?
No, it was Inframan.
Oh.
Because there's one scene in particular that he does flips 100 times.
I mean, I would be completely sloshed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's the drinking game if you need to play it.
Okay, so after the second viewing, I can honestly say with the utmost certainty that I will never, ever, ever watch this movie again.
Yeah, I agree. It's terrible. In every sense of the word, I keep questioning, do I really think it's a 1? But I definitely think it is exactly what's wrong with filmmaking when they rush a product out, don't really have any rhyme or reason. I particularly don't even think the fight scenes, which sucks because a lot of these guys got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks great.
No.
I mean, it is the epitome of what's wrong in the 90s with filmmaking. It's just a lot of cash grab, a lot of bad ideas. And as a person who wants to see this in the theater, it is a giant fucking letdown.
But can I ask you a question? When you saw this, you saw both movies in the theater, correct?
Of course.
1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay. Was there any part of you that was watching the second movie and thinking to yourself, how did the special effects get worse? How did they get worse instead of better?
I remember the moment that they got on those hamster balls, and I just said, what the fuck is this movie? Like, what is this movie? And then just seeing like Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting for a couple minutes and they're out of the movie, I just remember being so disappointed. I wonder if I even made it to the end if I didn't walk out of the theater. I don't even remember. I definitely know I had to have, because I remember getting that special effect and laughing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 1.
Yeah,
I mean,
I might have been the only one in the theater too. Like with my friend. It was just me and my friend.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, when you got bad set pieces, bad actors, bad costumes, bad special effects, terrible directing, that's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's just stale on every front.
It's a 1. I mean, if you could, I could probably give it lower than a 1.
There's a part of me that wants to give it a 2. And the only reason I want to give it a 2 is because some of the badness is kind of fun.
Well, because we can laugh about it.
That's what I'm saying. There's something here that at least brings you to the table.
Yes, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a bad movie. We're just finding humor in it because of who we are as people. Like, you and I laugh at silly, goofy things.
Isn't that what So Bad It's Good is about, though? Finding something that elevates a terrible, terrible film?
But those moments are few and far between here.
Okay, how about if I put it this way? I'm sorry to interrupt you mid-sentence. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say to you, would you rewatch The Bog or this?
I would rewatch The Bog in a minute. Wow. I will never watch this movie again. I can't take it. It was so embarrassingly bad. Just terrible. At least in The Bog, they tried to do some monster. They tried. But they tried.
Okay.
This movie was, it was just ridiculous.
But in this movie, you can say that they went full on with stunts. Like they're trying to do fight after fight after fight after fight. Those fights aren't great.
No.
But they're trying really hard to do fight after fight. They're just trying to constantly bombard you with some kind of movement.
Yeah, to take away from how terrible the freaking movie is. But But still, even in the first one, the fight scenes were way better. You know?
Yeah, and they're minimal.
Johnny Cage's fight with Scorpion in the first one was better. It was rad.
Because it looks good.
It looks good. That scene alone, that one scene is better than this whole entire movie. And I'm sorry, but I just can't get behind this. There's everything. It has everything going against this movie. Everything.
Well, I want to do something. I want to add something to the show.
Okay.
And I don't know how you feel about it, but I think what we should do going forward is have a rank.
Okay.
For every film that we watch, we should rank them in order of how we feel of where they would lay. Because if you're saying this is the worst, right? This is like a 1. This is one of the worst movies ever made because we don't give zeros. 1 is basically why I want to give this a 1 and why I want to give it a 2 because at least there's something about it that still stands to making a movie. You know what I mean? There's something. Someone tried. A lot of people gave some attempts, so I give it a 1. But if this is the worst going forward, when we keep watching other movies, I would like to see constantly comparing it.
Okay.
To the 1 and if we think, oh, this is above that, that's under that. Mm-hmm. So going forward, maybe making a list and saying, okay, of all the movies we've ever watched, where does this one land? Like, where does this one land in that rank?
Okay. I like that.
We should have started that in the beginning, but I think this is the perfect one to start with because this is the first movie we've given a 1 on the show.
Right, that's true. We haven't yet. So, okay, going forward, let's start that. Let's do that.
Yeah, because even if we want to... Because we're always talking about what is the worst movie ever made, and I think we've seen way worse movies than this movie. That's what I'm saying. That's why this one feels like it's not as bad of a 1 as some of the other movies I've sat through. And even if we wanted to start actually watching the worst of the worst and ranking them on the show, that'll be interesting to rewatch some of the worst movies I've ever seen, or always take, which we always want to do, is ask people all the time, what is the worst movie you've ever seen, and watch those movies. I definitely want to watch some of these movies that people have suggested to us because I know there's no way in hell it's worse than this.
Yeah, I really love the suggestions so much.
Yeah, I always want them.
Because we are on the hunt for the worst movie ever made. We really are. We've been doing this for a long time, watching really shitty movies. Yeah. And I still feel like we have not gotten there yet. So
I have a good list. I have already made a list of 1-star movies or 2 to 1-star movies that we have watched in our lives, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely on this show, because this is what we do anyways, we actually watched one the other night with our friends that we probably should have done on this, but it's
Wait,
right there.
Which one is it? Hammerhead or Shark Exorcist?
Yeah, it's that latter one. So, that's an idea to add to the show, I think.
Okay, I like it.
All
Let's do it.
But yeah, as always, please, if you listen to our show and you have suggestions of what the worst movie you've ever seen is, even if it's something that's like newer or whatever, and you just think it's the worst, I would love to see it. I would love to watch. I would love to tell us. Either Joe at the Crafty Misfit on Instagram or me at the Just Another Movie Night. If you could just hit us up on one of these and tell us, hey, this thing is the worst movie I've ever seen.
I would love to get a list.
I would love to get a list
from all of you and compile it, and we'll do them on the show, and we'll see what's the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some utter trash, and
Yeah.
we love it. We love it.
We actually love the
Yeah.
you know that when she says, "Unfortunately, you will die."
Yeah.
That's like I feel like she was talking to us while we're watching the movie because it's so close to the opening of the movie.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately for you, your brain cells are
I
gonna
mean,
die.
I
watching
felt
this
like I
thing.
was slowly slipping into oblivion watching this movie.
yeah.
So yeah, just
Always
reach out to us on Instagram because we would love to hear.
Yeah, and if you think that Mortal Kombat Annihilation isn't the worst movie I've ever seen, and there are movies that you have seen that are worse, that's definitely what I want to see. I want to hear about it, you know?
Yeah.
Please, because if you even like Mortal Kombat Annihilation and you're giving it a pass, tell me why. I would love to hear that. And yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one. We are going to go get our minds on something better than this.
Like eating our Sammys.
Yes. So, all right. Have a good night. Thank you for listening. Bye.
It's a trap, Lou. Leave.
The date's over.
Father, the merger has begun. Earth is under attack. And it is glorious! Prepare for final battle!
As long as I have the power, Khan, you will never rule this world.
As long as the portal remains open, your world becomes my world!